Going on, people? Hangman just gone live there. Hangman's just gone live this second. Yep, just gone live a second ago there. Just grabbing the toilet and that, guys. Getting ready for the live and that. Setting it up. On a day off tomorrow, I might be out filming. So I might have another 5 videos there tomorrow for you. Getting released. If you haven't already, go and check out the video that's out now. Right. On live there. I don't get many people in, but it is getting a little bit better. The lives. Yeah. Thanks for all the new subscribers as well. I know probably none of you are here, but well, thanks to the new subscribers anyway. Obviously. Nearly at 1,000 subscribers now. Timmy B. Nearly at 1,000 subs, lad. Right, so today we are going to be promoting Pinnack. Yeah, all things Pinnack, all things, you know, standing up for your rights, stuff like that. Got Hangman Audits in the building. There's some new videos today that we need to address. So let's go and have a look. It's been a warm day, but I'm a bit cold now, actually. Actually a bit cold. I don't know why. Right, here we are. Yeah, just trying to... We'll get there, Timmy. We'll get there, Timmy. You know, we're getting more and more people watching the videos and that. Yeah, spreading the movement of Pinnack. You know, from Scotland. Auditing Police Scotland. Hey, JJ Rebel. JJ and Rebel. What's going on, mate? Just talking to Timmy B. Just got to build a live stream now, Timmy, but I was going live too often and I was actually losing subscribers. So I need to keep the balance of videos and live streams. See what I'm saying here? That's why I've put all the live streams to private. So the new people don't just watch the live streams, they'll be watching actual auditing. But I do like to come on live and have a little chat. Anyway, we've got a couple of new videos today we're going to address. Yeah, we've got a couple of videos we're going to address today or tonight. That is. Right, here we go. Firstly, we need to address Gypsy Auditors live when I'm live. Well, we need to address that then. Someone go over to Gypsy's live and say, yo, Hangman's live. I'm only joking. Someone go over there. Someone go over there and say, yo, Hangman's live. Promoting Pinnack. Yeah. Yeah, the live stream, I'm going to get there. Don't worry about that. Right. I'm going to show you what I was watching last night. Yeah. It'll be like, Hangman, is this to do with auditing? Right. The 10 best and worst places to live in the UK. How about that? What do you think's number one? What do you think's number one? The worst place to live in the UK. The worst places to live in the UK.
Getting that from YouTube.
No, right there. The 10 poorest places in the UK. Does anybody know what's number one? Does anybody know what's number one? Poorest places in the UK. Does anyone know what number one is?
That from YouTube.
Over 800 fleets and easily put across 550 UK cities.
Right, here we go.
Up to 12 months ahead with 3 cancellations.
Hangman promotions.
Airport, the best.
Alright, calm down.
Get there.
Calm down.
with mini cabin.
Oh, Timmy B, don't ruin everyone's video, lad. No, I'm only joking. Yeah, it's Jaywick. Yeah, Jaywick is the UK's number poorest city. 10 years in a row. Jaywick. That's correct. Does anybody know the second poorest place, they reckon? It's up north by where, it's up north. Is it Darlington? No, not Darlington. What's it called? What's that place called in the northeast? Begins with D, doesn't it? Oh, what was it? Watched it yesterday. Begins with D. It's in the northeast, isn't it? Not Darlington. What's it called? Not Hartlepool. Right, we're going to have to watch it again. Not Peterborough now. Right. I'm sure it was in the northeast. 10 poorest places to live in the UK.
Getting that from YouTube.
Oh, where was it? 10 poorest places to live in the UK. Oh, it was begin with D. It was in. Maybe it was Hartlepool, I don't know. Anyway, they're good lists. They're good lists, so let's crack on to them. Doing lists today, guys. 10 poorest places to live in the UK.
Getting that from YouTube.
That was on the area. That was one of the towns, actually, JJ, but I can't remember. Right, here we go. Here it is here. Jaywick's number one, but this was a good video I watched last night. I'm not bringing down anybody. Like the video says, we're not bringing down anybody. If you live in these areas, we're not trying to bring people down. There's great people in every. This is what the people have voted. The people that live there, the businesses, not just other people. So this isn't to bring anyone down, but this is a good video I watched. Mint. This is an informative one, this one. What's this one? Because would you believe it or not, 2% of my audience is from India. Yeah, 2% of my audience is from India. And some of them, 40% of my audience is American. And 40% British.
I'm here at Hampstead Heath Bathing Point saying yes to fresh new experiences with Mentos Go and the new paper bottle Pure Fresh range.
And you'd be like, how does that work out then, Hangman? If all of us here, if there's all of us here and we're all British, it's because the Americans watch the shorts. Yeah, Americans watch the shorts. Right, thanks for smashing the like button. Here is the 10 poorest places to live in the UK. 10 most hated towns, that's good.
10 poorest places in the UK. The last thing that'll come to mind when the UK is mentioned is poverty. It's not among the countries you'll associate poverty with. This should be clearly noted as we begin. Yet not every part of Great Britain has the affluence of London, Edinburgh or Glasgow. Some places in the UK are.
See what he said then? Not most places have the affluence of London, Edinburgh, yeah, I get them too, or Glasgow. Why didn't he say like Oxford, Cambridge, London and Edinburgh? You know what I mean? Glasgow, are you sure, mate? Glasgow's in the fucking video. Right, here we go. Yeah, reviewing with Hangman.
10 poorest places in the UK.
Let's go.
The last thing that'll come to mind when the UK is mentioned.
Right. Before we do the video, can anybody guess? Can anybody guess, apart from Jaywick, one of the 10 poorest towns? Yeah. Anybody else guess? What are the 10 poorest towns? Or the 10 poorest places? They don't have to be towns. The 10 poorest places in the UK. What are they? The British people will know these straight off the bat. Straight off the bat. Should do. So we've had Jaywick, that's number 1. So what's the other 9? Top 10 dearest, wow. Cambridge. Right, here we go.
Poverty. It's not among the countries you'll associate poverty with. This should be clearly noted as we begin. Yet not every part of Great Britain has the affluence of London, Edinburgh or Glasgow. Some places in the UK...
Burnley, no.
We're here to show you the 10 poorest places
Poorer.
in the UK. These places are the same neighbourhoods with the biggest shortages of basic social infrastructure and facilities such as playgrounds, parks, pubs, shops and sports centres. You'll find some of them among the areas left behind in England, Wales and Scotland. Authorities have to do something about these 10 poorest places in the UK. 10. Newport, Wales. We're starting in Wales. One of the poorest places in the UK is a city and county borough in Gwent in Wales. We are referring to Newport, which is situated on the River Usk, close to the river's confluence with the Severn estuary. It is 19 kilometres northeast of Cardiff. Newport's population of 145,700 at the 2011 census notwithstanding, all is not going on fine with the city. It can't get past its nagging poverty. Imagine this. Of Newport's 95 neighbourhoods in Newport, 23 currently rank among the most deprived in Wales.
So out of the 93 neighbourhoods, there's 93 neighbourhoods in Newport, and 23 of them are in the worst for poverty in Wales. That's why Newport's on the list, number 10.
Math, and you'll find out that this is about 24% of the authority. That's the biggest percentage of deprivation in the country.
It's not just England.
9. Greenock, Inverclyde, Scotland. Wales doesn't have a monopoly on poor places. Scotland
Greenock in
has one of
Scotland.
the 10 poorest places in the UK. You'll find the 9th on our list in Inverclyde. This is Greenock, a town and administrative
Very
centre
rough
in the
area.
Inverclyde Council area.
Very
The town
rough
with a
area.
population of 44,248 is located in the west central lowlands of Scotland. As proof of how gripping the poverty state of this town is, its population reduced by almost 3,000 within 10 years. In a report that shows how poor some parts of the nations are, Greenock tops the list.
Don't worry, there's many places in England. There's many places in England on this list.
Deprived areas in Scotland. 8. Poulton, England.
Poulton,
England
England.
too has some of the poorest places in the UK, and the first of these on this list is the 8th poorest place in the UK, Poulton. The district and unitary authority that registers its name on this list has a borough status in Cheshire. When you consider its ranking as one of the worst areas in England and Wales by a global children's
And that's in
charity,
Cheshire.
it also ranks Poulton as one of the worst areas in England and Wales to be a girl.
Yeah.
You'll understand why Poulton slipped into the rank of the 20 most...
Well, it doesn't really matter if we watch Auditing or, you know, whatever we watch. We just have a little chat together. A few people here like to talk to me. You know what I mean? So, you know, we'll have a little chat, have a little smoke and watch some TV. Right, so Poulton in England. Now, these aren't places. This channel here, the only reason I follow this channel is because this is not everybody else saying that area there is shit. Yeah. These are the people in the actual area and like saying like it's rubbish. Do you know what I mean? And reviews and stuff like that, actual local people saying for like Cheshire, this is like one of the poorest places, Poulton in the UK. But there's a lot of other places. There's a lot of good lists on here. We'll watch them. The 10 most poorest towns. Yeah? The 10 most hated towns. Now, can you guess one of the 10 most hated towns? Think about it. I'm thinking Aldershot, Slough, Luton. You know what I mean? Them places, class, man. 10 poorest places in the UK. Newport was number 10. Greenock was number 9. Poulton is number 8.
Deprived areas in England. Other indices like life expectancy.
Where are we going now? We're going to the northeast.
Health inequality and unemployment rates are not in a positive light for this district. 7. Merthyr Tydfil,
Oh,
Wales.
not Wales.
We're back in Wales.
We are going to the northeast, don't worry. Back in Wales, look at that.
That's the 7th of the 10 poorest places in the UK. The town, administered by Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council, is about 37 kilometres north of Cardiff. Often called Merthyr, the town believed to be named after Tydfil, daughter of King Brychan of Breckinlog, has a population of 43,820. This town seems to be hitting above its weight as the go-to place for those looking for gloomy job news. As of March 2018, the unemployment rate was 5.7%.
10 worst seaside towns,
Even though
bro.
it's an iron producer, poor transportation service is the bane of this town that makes it so poor.
You should be able to guess that. You should be able to guess the top three. Top three worst seaside towns. I think that one was England. Top three worst seaside towns. You should get all three easy.
Six, South Elmshall, England. South Elmshall is a small town and civil parish lying
That was on the list, Jay, yeah.
with a population of 6,519. When it comes to safety, this town is among the most dangerous of small towns.
Do you know Blackpool is one of the only places in the UK where it's got loads and loads and loads of entertainment, and it's not like people say it's like a shithole. Do you know what I mean? All like the back streets and that. They should be like looking after Blackpool. Like, that's like one of the only places in the UK, apart from like near London and all that, where there's like so many amusements and stuff. Do you know what I mean? They should be putting money into Blackpool to like make it like Las Vegas or something. Do you know what I mean? Shouldn't be left to rot like that. And that's what these videos are about. South Elmshall. Has anybody heard of South Elmshall? Sorry guys, we'll go back to this. So 2 places in
Hitting above
Wales.
its weight as the go-to place for those looking for gloomy job news. As of March 2018, the unemployment rate was 5.7%. Even though it's an iron producer, poor transportation service is the bane of this town that makes it so poor. 6. South Elmshall, England.
Does anyone know where that is? South Elmshall.
Civil parish lying to the east of Hemsworth with a population of 6,519. When it comes to safety, this town is among the most dangerous of small towns, villages and cities in West Yorkshire. It's faring badly in income deprivation, employment deprivation, education, skills and training deprivation, health deprivation and disability. The 2021 overall crime rate in South Elmshall was 111
that's in South Yorkshire, look.
people. Living in this small town, you will be on a downward spiral of ill health and at the risk of premature death or the impairment of quality of life caused by poor physical or mental health. 5. The Isle of Sheppey. Even the Isle of Sheppey on the northern coast of Kent doesn't go unnoticed. The island near the Thames estuary, centred 67 kilometres from central London, has an area of...
Watch this island's proper poor, look.
It's a part of the local government district of Swale. The major clog in the wheel of progress of this island is the lack of investment on the island and its surrounding areas. And the economy of this place has nosedived, causing many industries to leave the town. In this one of the poorest areas in the UK, there's little growth and prospect.
That's an island.
4. Hartcliffe, Bristol.
Hartcliffe, Bristol.
Hartcliffe is an outer suburb of the city of Bristol and lies within that ward. It is a district and a council estate on the southern edges of the city, sitting next to Withywood on the northern slopes of Dundry Hill. About 69,000 people in Bristol are in the bottom 10% of most deprived parts of England. This number includes 17,800 children and 10,500 elderly people. This city has so much more to contend with in terms of antisocial behaviour and deprivation statistics. Frankly speaking, life in Hartcliffe is far from being a bed of roses. A critical look at it places it amongst the poorest places to live in the United Kingdom. 3. Great Yarmouth, England. Great Yarmouth, also called Yarmouth, is a seaside resort town in Norfolk. The resort in England straddles the River Yare, some 32 kilometres east of Norwich. With a population of 38,693, it is the third most populous in Norfolk. Its reputation as a fishing industry flourishing with herring has waned. Even the oil rig industry...
Wouldn't believe that, would you? Great Yarmouth.
Today, visitors to Yarmouth are full of bitterness. Its Victorian houses at the resort are now covered by horrible leisure centres full of neons and fluorescent colours. There are junk foods everywhere. It's like the formerly amazing Empire Theatre has now been deliberately left to dereliction. 2. Hartlepool, England. Winding up, we would
Oh,
like to
number
talk
2
about
was Hartlepool.
a port town in County Durham. This is the largest settlement and administrative centre of the borough of Hartlepool. Hartlepool is 51 kilometres southeast of
Yeah, it's nice to visit.
Tyne. Sad to say, this large port
I'll
town
stay
is
there.
a classic example of a place scarred by
Hartlepool.
deindustrialisation and subsequent abandonment for rot. This story is an open secret in the northeast of England. Going by the BBC's recent report on that town, which highlighted the enormous difficulties residents of Hartlepool are experiencing as a result of universal credit, the town can't avoid being the second poorest place in the UK. 1. Jaywick. We conclude this list with Jaywick topping the list of the 10 poorest places in the
For
UK.
10 years in a row.
This is a coastal village in the Tembring district of Essex. It's 3.2 kilometres west of Clacton.
Now, what I didn't know about Jaywick was built. They built the holiday homes for the rich people in London before World War II, right? And when their homes got bombed, these were rich people. See these drunkies and stuff from Jaywick and stuff, yeah? These were good rich people, their families were. They all come from rich families because the rich families, yeah, a guy built Jaywick, right? A London guy, so they could all go down there and they all brought second holiday homes. When their homes got bombed in the war, they all moved to Jaywick. Jaywick was never meant to be a permanent town. I never knew that.
And lies on the North Sea coast of England. The town, built as a holiday resort for Londoners, is about 96 kilometres from London and 26 kilometres from Colchester.
What a shame.
Over time, Jaywick's situation has deteriorated to the extent that it has become the most deprived area in the country for over 10 consecutive years. Jaywick is worse than all other places mentioned here in all aspects, such that it has become a sore for deprivation and suffering. Everywhere in this village you will find beer cans, cigarette butts, spliffs and condoms buried in the fine golden sands.
Yeah.
The village's challenge with unemployment and flooding reduces its chance of equalling other places in the UK, and this has defied all attempts by the local council to transform the area. All hope is not lost for these 10 poorest places in the UK. Things can still change for them. If you agree with this ranking...
10 poorest towns. Now we're moving on to towns.
Maybe
That's YouTube. That's YouTube gonna strike me for the wrong adverts. Right, these are the 10 poorest towns. Now, I know we're seeing Woolworths there, but these are all up to date, 9 months old. This one's from 9 months ago. This one's the 10 poorest towns. So we've done areas. So I don't know what the difference is. This is the 10 poorest towns. I don't know if Jaywick's number 1 on this, probably.
10 poorest towns in England.
Oh, this is just England.
Regardless of how affluent a country is, poverty is still going to mark its presence in some of its communities, even if it's not that gripping.
Just England.
This situation is quite obvious in England. To define the poorest towns in England, we have to look at towns with neighbourhoods lacking basic social infrastructures such as parks, hubs and sporting facilities. They
Do you
are
think the list
also
will be the
towns
same?
with little or no government funding to catch up with other towns in
Let's
the
see if the list is
availability
the
of
same.
shops, cultural assets, sports facilities and open spaces where people can meet and engage in community life. In this video, we shall discuss some of the 10 poorest towns in England to illustrate this point. 10. Rochdale. If you have to understand the poverty state of this large town in Greater Manchester, check successive government figures about the LSOA, which includes Rochdale Town Centre, based on the Index of Multiple Deprivation, IMD. You'd see that in all domains of income, wages, employment, education, health and housing, the town is among the most deprived. For almost a decade, when the attention has been shifted to this town as one of the poorest towns in the UK, a number of scathing articles have featured its condition in the national press. In response, a network of multi-million-pound plans has been put in place which to transform the area. For instance, the town's housing association is working on upgrading the township housing scheme. However, this doesn't come without a fierce backlash in form of petitions. 9. Hastings. There's nothing to really justify millions of pounds of investment in Hastings on the southeast coast of England. For decades, it's been ranked repeatedly as one of the most deprived towns in England. Grassroots charities' efforts to improve things with programs such as Neighbour Helping Neighbour have not been successful. Food charities are unable to bridge the gap. In Hastings, there's the catchy phrase, eating or eating, which shows how
Eating
bad
or
it is
eating,
to
look.
access basic amenities there. Politicians and journalists usually emphasize the phrase to illustrate the daily dilemma of people who have serious struggles to make ends meet. After feeding, you may not have enough to heat your home and have to endure cold. School attendance and attainment are nothing to write home about here, as too many children grow up in poor households. 8. Darwen. Data towns in Lancashire gave us an insight into how poor Darwen is. It is among the top 5 most
Telford,
dangerous
yeah.
medium-sized towns in the ceremonial dangerous.
Well, I'm originally from Birmingham, so
consider the overall crime rate in the
I was
town
staying in
2021,
Wolverhampton last
which
year.
was 99 crimes per 1,000 people. It is 22% higher than Lancashire's overall crime rate of 77 per 1,000. Additionally, Darwen is the 57th most dangerous medium-sized town in all of England, Wales and Northern Ireland. Why are we highlighting the crime situation in Darwen? Because the town is very poor and poverty there is aiding crime. Oldham.
You know what I want to go to?
Manchester will not be here if it had maintained its.
You know what I want to go to? You know where they play football? You know where the whole town plays football and they're allowed to have fights? I want to film that on my YouTube. And places like where's the one where all the gypsies go? What's the one where all the gypsies go to? What's it called? Begins with A, doesn't it? Appleby. Imagine that. Hangman audits Appleby. Yeah, that town where they do the football and they have that big football match and they're allowed to have fights and everything for the day. I'd like to go and put that on my YouTube. And what about as well? Appleby. Hangman audits Appleby. Oh my god. That'd be naughty, that. No, get down to the places, man. Oldham's next.
Proud history as
Who's
one of the
lifting these
19th
places?
century largest cotton producing areas on the globe. However, it suffered the same fate as most of the textile industrial towns in England when the foreign competition was too stiff and was strangling the local industry. Ever since Oldham has not been able to find an alternative route to sustainable prosperity. Many areas in the town are among the poorest neighbourhoods in Britain. According to a respected resident, there is nothing for kids around here. He added that children would come around your home and knock on your door with a request to sing for you just to get £1 to survive. 6. Blackburn. Can you believe that you're finding Blackburn on this list? Imagine the town once called the weaving capital of the world, now among the poorest in England. The scene of the world has really changed. This was a former mill town leading the way in textiles for centuries. But with the death of the textile industry in the 20th century, the town sunk into poverty as thousands of jobs went down with the industry. What you would now find in the town are a lot of underqualified workers and their children being raised in poverty. Many of the families have only one economically active member, while the majority are out of work.
You're going to take a kid who plays video games and strap him to a 200-mile-an-hour rocket. It's not going to work.
We've got some good lists coming up next.
5. Burnley. The story of Burnley gives credence to the saying, no condition is permanent. This was the town that helped power the Industrial Revolution. It was a mining town, an engineering hub, and one of the biggest
What a shame, huh?
manufacturers of cotton worldwide. When the textile industry had to struggle against foreign competition in the 20th century, this town also in Lancashire experienced...
I remember before Burnley was like in the Premiership and all that, right? I think it was. I don't know if they've been in it before, right? I think Burnley have. Is Burnley the team that was in the Premiership once in the 90s in the English Premiership? I think there was, wasn't there? Anyway, Burnley was playing Nottingham Forest, right? In the Championship. My dad used to, one of my stepdads used to support Forest. So we went down to Burnley. No, we went to, sorry, Nottingham, the City Ground, and they were playing Burnley, right? And my stepdad, he had a Nottingham Forest sticker in the back of his car. I swear down, when we got, I was only about 6 or 7. When we got back to the car, and this was in Nottingham, yeah, because he had a Nottingham Forest sticker in the back window, they'd smashed it and slashed his tyres. Yeah, man, they smashed it and slashed
a
his
steady
tyres.
and irreversible decline in its economy and population.
And I seen
Today,
someone get
those
glass
who
there
manage to
as well.
work with struggling big manufacturers in the town earn over £100 less per week than the national average.
I don't know if you guys will know about it, but back in the day there was a Forest fan, yeah, and he was in the Forest, Nottingham Forest. You know, like swear down, this is a true story. Listen to this one. Another time when I was there, yeah, that was only one time when I was there, right? I swear to the it's the Nottingham Forest Supporters Club, right? And it was like a little shed that had like well, it wasn't little, it was massive, obviously, and it was right next to the ground, and it was like a little private members bit, right? And we always remember what happened was this guy come in by accident, yeah, and the other guy told him to fuck off, right? And then like the Forest fan told him to fuck off out, yeah, and they had a row or something, right? I can't exactly remember it because I was really young, but what I remembered is the other guy glassed him, right? Yeah. So if you Google it, yeah. So if you Google that incident, there was a Nottingham Forest fan glassed in the face back in the day. I was like literally like 2 meters away. Yeah, man. This is the times I went to Nottingham Forest, the football ground, man. Fucking hell. I was about 6 or 7. Yeah, man. 6 or 7. Hey, my stepdad, yeah, thought he was well hard. Yeah. So my stepdad, he thought he was well solid, right? And he took me to his Sunday league game as well, right? And then fucking, they was having a row. They lost about 4-0. Yeah, I found it really funny, right? And then after the game, my stepdad, who played like right midfield, he was having a go at the goalkeeper, or like just say the left back, right? And then like the left back, the defender, like he must have been able to like handle himself and that. Do you know what I mean? And then, like imagine growing up, like and like you got this stepdad that's a bit mean and thinks he's solid and all that. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so fucking they've come off, right? They've lost 4-0. They're walking off the pitch and they're having a row. The right back and the left back, my stepdad, and the next fella. So my stepdad says to him, "Oh, you fucking dickhead, this and that." He says, "Listen here, Scott." He says, "You talk to me like that again, I'll come over there and I'll break your nose in front of your son." That's what I said to him. Talk to me like that again. Yeah, defender or not, I'll come over there and I'll break you right up. Yeah. Another time, right? My stepdad, yeah, the same one, right? He found out about just say this next geezer, right? But not, not at the same time. But yeah, he found out about one of my mom's exes, right? So he's gone down the road now. Swear down, he's gone down the road now, but because he can't fight, right? Because my stepdad can't fight. He's got his pool. He's got like a pool cue because he used to go and play pool. So he had a really fancy cue, and it unscrews in half. So he had half of that now, yeah. Or he had it and he was screwing it together. I can't really remember, right? Yeah. And then the story goes that my mom's ex, right, he could handle himself as well. He could handle himself as well. And then, but either that fucking he could handle himself and he's got a snooker cue. So like they just live on the opposite side of the road. And then so fucking the ex has come out and he's got knuckle dusters. And all you see, like all I saw was this big pool cue go up in the air, and then as the pool cue went in the air, the guy wrapped his fist right round my stepdad with the knuckle dusters on. Swear down. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what it was, Timmy. He was like screwing it, know what I mean? Like screwing it together. I was only watching out the window. I don't know exactly what happened, but I seen the action, like, yeah, man. Imagine that. Your stepdad thinks he's solid, screwing it together now. Come on, then, Nick, on. Boom! Collapsed out, man. Big time. You wanna bring the snooker cue? I'll bring knuckle dusters. Put him right out. I swear down. He was gutted, man, for about a week. Yeah. Grounded me and everything. I says, you lost there. I says, you lost there, didn't you? You lost the fight. I was only about 7. I says, you got sparked out. I says to him, look at your face. Oh, he grounded me and everything. I said to him, look at your face, you're in a mess. Grounded me for a month. He lost the fight. Anyway, right. Next poorest towns.
Four.
Oh, the right time growing up, me.
The people living in this town in the 19th century, when the town was booming following the discovery of iron ore in the 1840s, couldn't have imagined that the town would become this poor. In fact, at some point during the century, Middlesbrough was the producer of a third of Britain's iron ore output. Unfortunately, the glory of the past has left the town. Among many factors that bring Middlesbrough here, income deprivation among children attracts our attention the most. We love children and we hate to see them suffer. It ranks alongside Blackpool as the most deprived district in this domain. The operators in the industries struggling.
Who said Blackpool before? Who said Blackpool before? It just beats Blackpool. Blackpool is only just not on the list. Think how much money Blackpool makes as well.
To survive by the late 20th century have been closing their doors in quick succession. Now, high unemployment and drug issues are the order of the day there.
Good people 3. From there, though.
Dagenham. The third poorest town in England on our list is Dagenham, a town in Far East London. It was once a thriving symbol of modern Britain when the going was good. The town came to real life decades after the Second World War, when lines of row houses sprang up there. The UK was still an industrial powerhouse then. Houses in Dagenham served the noble purpose of accommodating the thousands.
I'm not being rude here, but you know, like Hartlepool. Does anybody know about Hartlepool? You won't from Telford, will you? But is Hartlepool like Coronation Street? Just like house after house after house after house after house after house, with like big vennels running through it, like loads of back alleys and that. Okay, now.
Of factory workers working nearby. Unfortunately, the town's proximity to London hasn't helped it. It has become one of the most deprived areas in England.
It's rough there, like Middlesbrough and
town in the suburb of East London. What you'll find there today are shabby storefronts and boarded-up pubs.
Where's Doncaster? That's on the list as well.
Industrial heyday, which has given way in recent years to poverty and racial tension. 2. Knowsley. This is a large village in the metropolitan borough of Knowsley. In this, one of the poorest towns in England, 1 in 5 children lives in poverty. Thus, it's one of the most deprived boroughs in the whole of the United Kingdom. Since 2019, the number of families claiming universal credit has soared, so also the number of school children depending on free school meals. Nearly half of secondary school pupils in the borough are now in receipt of this provision for the economically disadvantaged. In addition, families of more than a third of primary school pupils depend on support with lunchtime meals. Authorities in charge of this town have expressed concerns about the increase in mental issues traceable to the pressures of living in.
Do you know some primary and secondary schools now in England offer to wash? They have washing machines and they wash the children's clothes. Yeah, for families. Yeah, they'll wash the children. They've got like laundries and that now, right? In some primary and secondary schools, so parents can actually fucking wash the kids' clothes because they're that poor. Ain't that a shame?
Poverty. The poverty state of this town is a result of low parental income and employment rate. 1. Blackpool.
Whoa!
Blackpool again tops this list.
Whoa! Blackpool's the poorest town. So Jaywick's the poorest place, but they're saying Blackpool on this list that they've done because they survey different people each time. You know what I mean?
Everything that is working against Middlesbrough is also working against this town. For instance, both towns have been ranked the most deprived district as far as income deprivation among children is concerned. Do you remember what has been said about Hastings and Burnley earlier in this video? Blackpool is also facing all those challenges, thereby accounting for also 3/4 of the most deprived in their areas and the highest number of deaths from heroin and morphine. That is why the town that was once a booming holiday destination.
Do you know why? Because people go there, right? People go there when they're younger, right? They ain't really got much. They're from a poor area. They've been to Blackpool when there was a kid in the 90s, right? So say they're like 21 and 25 or 20, between 21 and 25. So this guy in this area has got fuck all, and he meets a girl in the area who's also got fuck all, and they remember going to Blackpool, so they move to Blackpool, but they still got fuck all. Do you know what I mean? And loads of them was turning into like, drug users and stuff like that. Yeah. There's a lot that. Remember, this is voted. It's different towns each time because he's doing different surveys, but he's asking the people in the towns. So this is the people of Blackpool telling you.
Has now become an attraction for tacky stag and hen parties.
No one's slagging them off. This is them telling you.
For instance, on its heydays, Blackpool was attracting 17 million visitors a year, but now the number of yearly visitors has fallen to less than 8 million. Those coming to visit are only looking to see what the town has to offer in terms of past glory. Today, the town has one of the highest drug death rates in the country. Conclusively, the Index of Multiple Deprivation considers these towns as having most of the most deprived LSOAs. What do you think about these towns? Please let's have your views in the comment section.
10 most dangerous places in England. Here we go. New list. We're on to a new list, guys.
40% less calories.
Yep.
Yeah. The delicious treat for those who like the moment. Oh yeah.
I didn't realise I stayed last year in Blackpool, either last year or the year before, right? Got all videos of it and that, right? And fucking it said Palatine Road where I was staying. If I would have gone down to the end of the road at like 11 o'clock, it would have been like full of prostitutes and everything. And you're saying to me now, oh, man, like you didn't know that. Like you didn't go. I actually never knew. You know what I mean? If I would have gone, I would have gone down there, done some YouTubing.
The new Bailey's Deliciously Light.
Yeah, I've done a Blackpool review. Not police stations and that, just having a time in Blackpool. It was alright, but it's very run down. That's what they're saying. People are going there for the nostalgia. People are going there to see the tower, to see the wheel, or to go to the amusement park. Well, I mean, or to go there for a holiday. So if you go there to see the tower, everywhere around the tower is either closed down or a shithole. If you go to see the wheel, yeah, everywhere that's near there is all right. You know what I mean? So that's good. Do you know what I mean? If you go to Blackpool to the arcade, the pleasure beach, that's good. But everywhere around there is like closed down. All the hotels have got bad reviews. Do you know what I mean? And if you go there for a holiday, you're gonna see all the ghettos and that. Do you know what I mean? That's the problem. Proper rough man there, like. I got that tattoo there, didn't I? I got that tattoo there, right? And the guy that I was drunk, right? I just got a random emoji tattoo, right? There, see it, right? And the guy that done the tattoo was more drunk than me. Swear down. Here we go, guys. The 10 roughest.
10 most dangerous places to live in England. Burglaries. For yet another time.
Oh no, I don't want to watch the burglaries one. Right. Here we go. 10 poorest towns. What was the one I watched yesterday? Let's watch the worst places to live in Scotland. Is there any Scottish people in? Don't think there is there? I watched that one as well. 10 crap towns in England. Let's watch this one. 10 worst seaside resorts. We're talking Weston-super-Mare, we're talking Green, Burnham-on-Sea.
10 worst seaside resorts in the UK.
Somerset.
Anyone leaving home to spend some time at a resort is going with high expectations. There are tons of things to do at seaside resorts. However, it's not all seaside resorts that live up to their designation. Some of them could be better described as anything else but resorts. Some of these pseudo-seaside resorts are there in the...
Yeah, we'll watch the 10 most dangerous ones after, but that was just for burglaries. I watched one, it was like the whole of the UK, but we'll watch it after. This one's the 10 worst seaside towns. You'll like this one.
Hereby present to you the 10 worst seaside resorts in the UK. After considering each of them, the choice is yours to patronise them or steer clear of them.
Guess what's number one? It's either Blackpool or Jaywick.
These seaside resorts in the UK were rated based on several features that are expected in seaside resorts, and they were weighted over 100 points. The following are the scores. 10. Burnham-on-Sea, Somerset, England. Burnham-on-Sea is a seaside town located in Somerset, England. You would be fair to this place at the mouth of the Parrett River upon Bridgewater Bay, if you reckon with it as a fishing village or town for the sake of respect that it used to be until the late 1700s when it began to grow. While the park at Burnham-on-Sea was lovely with clean facilities and lots of activities, the resort could not score more than 48 points. The on-site pizza costs too much. You need a 10-minute walk to...
When he says these, yeah, I thought that he stayed there, right? I thought he stayed there and is only reviewing one place, but he's not. Yeah, this is multiple places and multiple reviews, and they said, like the pizza and that, the food there is too expensive, do you know what I mean? In the resorts, the ones that are actually good.
Get a better deal. Most of the accommodation here is caravans without heating in the bedrooms. The bedding quality of the rooms is begging to be upgraded.
Book your dream trip.
Burnham-on-Sea, number 10.
Love holidays. The smart way to get away.
I think Burnham-on-Sea is supposed to have 58 points though.
9. Colwyn Bay, Conwy, Wales. Colwyn Bay, a town and community in Conwy County Borough, cannot escape our attention. Conwy is on the north coast of Wales where it is overlooking the Irish Sea. The town of Colwyn Bay is recognised as a seaside resort within the historic county of Denbighshire, no doubt. But what is in doubt is the quality of the resort. From what we know, Colwyn Bay can't earn more than 58 points. Yes, the clean rooms, the security and proximity to the North Wales Expressway, the railway station and the beach count for something. However, the services were generally...
I'm surprised Real wasn't on this list. I'm surprised Real is not on this list. But we've had Burnham-on-Sea, and then we've had Colwyn Bay, 10 worst seaside towns.
Poor. The rooms are freezing without a heater, and electrical fitting, including plumbing, were not being maintained. The food options were 0. 8. Great Yarmouth.
Wait there, was that Wales? Was that one Wales? If this is the UK, not
48 points. The on-site pizza costs too much. You
if this is the whole of the UK, notice how there's no places in Scotland on the list.
need a 10-minute walk to get a better deal. Most of the accommodation here is caravans without heating in the bedrooms. The bedding quality of the rooms is begging to be upgraded. 9. Colwyn Bay, Conwy, Wales. Colwyn Bay, a town and community...
There's nowhere in Scotland on the list, what?
Escape our attention. Conwy is on the north coast of Wales where it is overlooking the Irish Sea. The town of Colwyn Bay is recognised as a seaside resort within the historic county of Denbighshire, no doubt. But what is in doubt is the quality of the resort. From what we know, Colwyn Bay can't earn more than 58 points. Yes, the clean rooms, the security and proximity to the North Wales Expressway, the railway station and the beach count for something. However, the services were generally poor. The rooms are freezing without a heater and electrical fitting, including plumbing, were not being maintained. The food options were 0. 8. Great Yarmouth, Norfolk, England. Then next is Great Yarmouth. Joining them in removing the prefix Great, let's comfortably join in referring to it by just Yarmouth, which is more fitting than Great Yarmouth. In any case, it is recognised as a seaside resort town in Norfolk, there in England, straddling the River Yare. It is located 30 kilometres east of Norwich. As a seaside resort, Yarmouth ties with its more neighbourly Burnham-on-Sea and Colwyn Bay in Wales to score 58. Though it has sandy beaches and 2 historic piers, amusement rides and restaurants, Yarmouth as Norfolk's flagship beach town is always crammed. Holidaymakers during the summertime suffer disorderliness here as if they were more services than the management could handle in an organised manner. 7. Morecambe, Lancashire, England. Morecambe is
That's
a
where
town in the
Tyson
city
Fury
of
lives.
Lancaster in Lancashire, England. It's hard to understand why Morecambe is still being referred to as a seaside resort. Up until the mid-20th century, it was a thriving seaside resort. Then it was home to the country's largest Pontins resort. That was then. When Pontins closed in 1993, Morecambe started shredding its fame and is now a shadow of its glorious past. Going by reviews of those who have visited Morecambe in search of a seaside resort, you'll be magnanimous to give it 58 points and may incur the wrath of other resorts who have been awarded the same point. 6. Worthing, West Sussex, England. Worthing, situated in West Sussex in southeast England, is number 6 on the list of the 10 worst seaside resorts in the UK. Located 79 kilometres south of London and 16 kilometres west of Brighton and Hove, Worthing will be glad to be given 58 points and score higher than 5 other seaside resorts. Those with an understanding of this place have advised that you don't come to Worthing for something real, but if you desire leafy avenues, a kite surf, or seaside terraces that are a bit cheaper than other seaside resorts, you're always welcome to Worthing. At any rate, you'll be entertained there with the cave pond, where you'll find huge carp and other fish almost lifeless. 5. Lowestoft, Suffolk, England. We're still in England, where we find the 5th one of the worst seaside resorts in the UK. Lowestoft is surely a coastal town. This civil parish in the East Suffolk district of Suffolk in England is the most easterly UK settlement. It's located 177 kilometres northeast of London, 61 kilometres northeast of Ipswich, and 35 kilometres southeast of Norwich. Viewed as a seaside resort, it scores even lower. Going by most of the reviews of its standard and quality of services, it can't score more than 57. Don't be surprised if you find some parts of Suffolk among the best seaside resort, but it's definitely not Lowestoft with its faded beach, poorly cleaned and generally understaffed facilities. 4. Margate, Kent, England. On the north coast of Kent in southeast England, you'll find Margate, a seaside town. The town is recognised as a seaside resort, and well, we can't argue that. However, it'll be more widely accepted if it had remained a significant maritime port it had been since the Middle Ages. It's the 4th worst seaside resort in the UK, tying with Lowestoft on 57 points. This review by a level 3 contributor to TripAdvisor is typical. What a right dump. We walked around the shops and it's full of young mums. We kept smelling weed as we walked around. It is run down, dirty and just horrid. I would not even recommend it to my worst enemy. 3. Ilfracombe, Devon, England. The 3rd worst seaside resort in the UK, Ilfracombe, also tagged a seaside resort on the North Devon coast of England. But it's de facto a civil parish with a small harbour surrounded by cliffs. We don't want to tell you much about Ilfracombe than saying it scores only 56 points. The dreadful experience of those who have been to Ilfracombe includes having been offered uncharged duvets and rooms not well tidied up because of either a spike in lodgers' turnout or a shortage of personnel. The information on their websites can be misleading or the customer service is disgraceful. And if you complain about any aspect of their poor service, you'll be threatened with legal action. 2. Weston-super-Mare, Somerset, England. Now we're beaming our lights on Weston-super-Mare, also known as Weston. It's a seaside resort town in North Somerset.
Weston, you have to walk far out. You do have to walk far out, proper far out into the wet sand to get to Weston, but that's not the one with the sinking sand. I know the one you're on about. Sometimes it has sinking sand, but it's not Weston, because loads of people walk out of Weston and they never get. I don't think it's Morecambe. That's the one where Tyson Fury jogs on it.
England, lying by the Bristol Channel, 32 kilometres southwest of Bristol. It's between Walbury Hill and Bleaton Hill. If you want to visit a beach with not much rubbish and be greeted with millions of tiny worms covering the beach, Weston will be happy to receive you. This is a seaside resort where the sea is muddy and where you have to walk over the mud to reach the murky waters. It scores only 55 points. 1. Skegness, Lincolnshire. We finally get to Skegness, the worst seaside resort in the UK. On the Lincolnshire coast of the North Sea, you'll find the town 69 kilometres from Lincoln and 35 kilometres northeast of Boston. The seaside town of Skegness is a civil parish in the East Lindsey district of Lincolnshire. However, it's a terrible one, so bad to score not more than 48 points. Every bad thing about the 9 previously mentioned seaside resorts on this list is present in Skegness. So what more can we say than to add our voice to those begging the authorities of Skegness, Lincolnshire, come to the aid of this dilapidated resort? Have you visited any of these 10 worst seaside resorts in the UK or their location? Please let us know what you think.
10 most hated towns. Let's watch that. Seems we've got the same audience. Let's watch that. 10 most hated. Might be interesting. See how no one's disagreeing though with the town. He's got good choices, hasn't he? He's got good choices, hasn't he?
Now you can take your hair to infinity. Discover new Pantene Infinite Length Serum infused with Pro V Near.
He'll explain what he thinks is a hated town. Yeah, he'll explain what he thinks is a hated town, and then he'll go by that, right?
Minimize and vitamin E. For up to 100% stronger hair, infinitely long. Try now
The guy's
new
spot on
Pantene
again. Watch.
Infinite Length collection. Luxury hair without luxury price. Pantene.
Ten most hated towns in England. No matter how good a country is, every part of it can't be loved equally. In fact, some parts of it are bound to be hated. Even the most fanatic lover of a country will love some parts of it less than others. I have heard some people complaining about some towns in England, the home of the Queen, that some people are dying to live and work in. That prompts research into the 10 most hated towns in England. This ranking is based mainly on the comments and complaints of residents of England and visitors to those towns. But it's not limited to that, since some complaints can be completely baseless. We dig deeper in researching these 10 most hated towns in England. 10. Slough. Let's begin with Slough, a town in Berkshire, within the historic county of Buckinghamshire. This town is 20 miles west of central London and 19 miles northeast of Reading. You will find the town in the Thames Valley and within the London metropolis around the area at the intersection of the M4. In spite of its location, Slough, according to those visitors, is a town whose streets are littered with empty takeaways and full of packets or empty beer cans. This assertion hasn't been contradicted by even just one resident. The quality of food in the town's restaurants
this one's 20 minutes long.
Made for losers who are just about to eat as much unhealthy food as they can get away with. 9. Scunthorpe. It's not desirable to find Scunthorpe among the most hated towns in England. Unfortunately, we can't afford to take it out of our list because the facts obviously place it there. This industrial town in the Unitary Authority of North Lincolnshire should normally be the pride of Lincolnshire as its main administrative centre. But the town, with an estimated population of 82,334 in 2016, had many things going against it. Residents of the UK's largest steel processing centre, also known as the Industrial Garden Town, are frustrated by a lack of the liveliness and diversity in the town only known for work. However, the loudest grouse that lists Scunthorpe alongside the most hated towns in England is the indiscriminate censorship and blocking of websites for spurious reasons. 8. Didcot. Let's next analyse Didcot, a railway town that is also a civil parish in the ceremonial county of Oxfordshire. Also in the historic county of Berkshire, Didcot is 15 miles south of Oxford and 10 miles east of Wattage. The town, noted for its railway heritage, is just 15 miles northwest of Reading, with its station opening as a junction on the Great Western Main Line back in 1844. This town of Didcot is probably the most aggressive in England. You'll have to agree with one or contest that. But travelling through the station for which it's known today will put you in confrontation with touts and gangs who mean not exactly good for passerby. You'll see them jumping onto trains passing through. You surely would hate the town where anybody can just violently ask you to give up your seat on the train. 7. Stevenage. Stevenage is a large town that should qualify for city status, but hasn't been recognised as such because it has nothing good to make it lovable. It's a borough in Hertfordshire, 29 miles north of London. It is east of junctions 7 and 8 of the A1M. It is located between Letchworth Garden City and Welwyn Garden City to the north and south, respectively. According to residents, greeting others with eye contact can be considered offensive in this town. That's why it's a town where you have to keep your head down when walking. Additionally, it's terribly depressing. 6. Chatham. Are you surprised that Chatham also is one of the hated towns? Located within the unitary authority of Medway in North Kent and South East England, Chatham is a town developed around Chatham Dockyard. Honestly, considering the military history and connectivity of the town that is also built around several army barracks, you won't be quick to consider Chatham as one of the 10 most hated towns in England. The 19th century forts have provided a defensive shield for the town's dockyard, and the core of Royal Engineers' presence is still felt there. Yet those who have lived long enough there have pains and regrets about their town on the basis of such factors like the competition for blue water. That enough has a far-reaching effect to overshadow every good thing about the town. 5. Huddersfield. Well, not all of Huddersfield is hated. It's just that we can't readily figure out what it is to be loved about the town. We just have to agree with the residents who say only 70% of the historic county of Yorkshire in northern England is bad. The town, lying in the valley of the River Colne, is gaining more negative votes from the reviewers. They, not we, say that there's no other thing apart from town shops and a few coffee shops in the town, adding that it's polluted and unclean. If you want to migrate to Huddersfield, those who hate it with passion say you have a minimum of 3 kids and at least one of them must be genetically almost unrelated to the other 2. According to them also, you must have a BMI greater than 30 and you must be ready to lose your wallet or cell phone any time. 4. Luton. For clarity's sake, we're not here referring to the entire borough of Luton in the ceremonial county of Bedfordshire. We're picking on the very town of Luton as one of the most hated towns in England. In this town in southeast England, if you venture out on a dark winter's night, you need special grace to return peacefully unhurt. If eyes can shoot from their socket, almost 1,000 arrows will be shot at you as eyes get glued to you. Some of them are buggers weighing you up in the shadow, while others may be prostitutes and yet others are crackheads. In short, people hate the town where their wives and daughters aren't so free to move any time of the day. 3. Corby. The third most hated town on our list is Corby, a town in Northamptonshire. This town, located 23 miles northeast of the county in central England, is the nightmare of the entire Northampton. Though it is served as the borough of Corby's administrative headquarters from 1974 to 2021, the town has been unsatisfactory to both residents and visitors. In this conurbation, it's like people kind of care less about the cleanliness of their vehicles as they go everywhere they please on their dirt bikes. 2. Dover. Our search for the most hated towns in England brings us next to Dover, a town and major ferry port in Kent. The town in southeast England faces France across the Strait of Dover.
There's some good other ones though, Corby and that. I wouldn't know about Corby, or I wouldn't know about Chatham and Didcot and that. I did know a little bit about Chatham and that. We got Corby. And Dover's next up. Dover's number 2.
Search for the most hated towns in England brings us.
So what is the number 1 hated town? What if it's not Luton? What's the most hated town? I bet everyone's gonna say Slough now, innit? Everyone's gonna say Slough, but Slough's not really that hated. So what's number 1? If Dover's number 2, what's the most hated town in the UK? It's not even Millwall or any ghettos in London or anywhere like that. Couldn't believe it.
Next to Dover, a town and major ferry port in Kent. The town in southeast England faces France across the Strait of Dover. At the narrowest part of the English Channel, it's 21 miles from Cap Gris-Nez in France, and it's lying southeast of Canterbury and east of Maidstone. This town, serving as the administrative centre of the Dover district, has been receiving knock after knock as the worst town in England. The residents are constantly being reminded that they're left behind. Analysts have scores of reasons to believe that this home of the Port of Dover may disappear off the face of the Kent coast. 1. Aylesbury. At last, we have the winner. The most hated town in England is none other than Aylesbury. This is a historic town, an underdog in Buckinghamshire. Only a few things, if anything, are working for Aylesbury, and we have no gain mentioning that again. Everyone polled in a Facebook post voted this town as the most hated. Some even urged others to join them in castigating the town with traffic jams at every corner and with nothing to compensate for your gaze that remains glued to boring sights. This list of the most hated towns in England is surely not of our own ranking. We've only shown you that.
Brilliant. Oh, God. Worst places to live in Scotland.
Worst places to live in Scotland. As one of the great countries making up the United Kingdom, Scotland is under serious internal and external pressure to live up to the standard expected of the UK. Thus,
Was
those
ya?
living in
No
Scotland
way.
or hoping to move to Scotland one
Yeah,
day
it's all army
reasons
barracks,
to
isn't it?
hope that they are or will be living in one of the best places. Just like every other great nation, however, cities and towns in Scotland don't have all factors and amenities working for them equally. Some of them are not so good. Let me share with you the worst places to live in Scotland. Please note that these worst places to live in Scotland are by no means the worst places to live in the world.
Wow.
As I said earlier, Scotland as a part of the UK is one of the places people are dying to live. Thus, living in Scotland and being gainfully employed there, you should consider yourself very fortunate. Yet the following places are some of those that Scots don't want to live, from my finding and my research. Number 8, Falkirk. Let's start with Falkirk, a town in the central lowlands of Scotland that is historically in the county of Stirlingshire. It's the main town and administrative centre of the unitary Falkirk council area. This town is in the Forth Valley, 23.3 miles northwest of Edinburgh and 20.5 miles northeast of Glasgow. Despite its rich history and location at the Forth and Clyde and Union Canals junction, which has once proved key to its growth, Falkirk is one of the worst places to live in Scotland. In the review by one of the residents, education is not given priority in the town. Yes, the town is home to the largest of the 4 campuses of Forth Valley College, yet the majority of the students are probably not from Falkirk. The efforts of the 8 high schools which were recently rebuilt appear not to be good enough to erase the derogatory description of Falkirk as the Ned capital of Scotland. Getting on the roads of this town, you see some folks displaying publicly their low social standing and education. You also see needless violent dispositions born out of their inability to accurately judge situations. Number 7, Coatbridge. Coatbridge, a town in North Lanarkshire, some 9 miles east of Glasgow city centre in the central lowlands, is another one of the worst places to live in Scotland. This town, with Airdrie, its neighbour, as a part of the greater Glasgow urban area, is where you'll find a lot of junkies, with one of them ready to accost you. The ancient town with the earliest known settlements, dating back to the Stone Age, is described by a disgruntled resident as nightmarish, adding, "You see them, the locals, everywhere, swaggering and grunting at each other in their version of English with all the slang." Others interviewed claimed that at any time you walk down a street, you'll surely find something burning, be it a house, a car, or even a child's bike. The issues of miscreants' dominance of the town's major centres make this town one of the worst places to live in Scotland. In the afternoons, you can be sure they'll be in the stores looking for freebies, and at night, looking for who to rob or what to vandalise. Number 6, Stirling. The next one of the worst places to live in Scotland is Stirling, a city in central Scotland, 26 miles northeast of Glasgow and 37 miles northwest of Edinburgh, the Scottish capital. Located on the River Forth, this city, which is the administrative centre for the Stirling Council area, was awarded city status in 2002 by the Queen. Yet the city is seen by many people living in Scotland as a chav town that is attracted only to rogues. The local shopping malls have been described as thistle centres that appear to provide employment to only those having issues with the law. This city is where you have parents brazenly encouraging kids in their indignity. While crime rates are not particularly high in this city, all sorts of crimes are being committed, albeit at a moderate level here. Subsequently, the quality of life in Stirling has been negatively affected compared to other cities in Scotland. Number 5, Kilmarnock. Kilmarnock in East Ayrshire and the administrative centre of East Ayrshire Council is our next point of call. It is the largest town in Ayrshire and the 15th most populated place in Scotland, yet it's one of the worst places to live in the country. Kilmarnock, Scotland is allegedly a place a guy can publicly punch his girlfriend at a bus station and get a big cheer. The place has a lot of drug addicts wandering up and down the street with their long pipes, looking for more, or at least cigarettes. It's so bad that it even shows in their speech. And with the way
Yeah.
kids speak in Kilmarnock,
Tough to get it,
you can't be sure which of them ever
Benji,
went
you
to
know.
school. You can't feel safe living in such a place. The Kilmarnock roundabout was once listed among the most dangerous locations in Scotland.
Somewhere out there, there's a kid who's faster.
That's where he'd have to go to get his smoke, the chef.
Drivers.
That's where the chef would have to go to get his smoke. If you never had the post.
Number 4, Paisley. Now comes the turn of Paisley, a Scottish town in Renfrewshire, in the west central lowlands of Scotland. It borders Glasgow to the east and straddles the banks of the White Cart Water. Though it's the largest town in the historic county and the 5th largest settlement in the country, earning the title Scotland's largest town, it never has city status. The town is one of the worst places to live in Scotland. Our commenters have a lot of reasons to condemn the town that one of them describes as irritable from birth. Some of those
Irritable
living
from
there
birth.
even dare to say that it qualifies as one of the worst places to live in the UK. You have to be careful here if you don't want your cell phone to be nicked, even while still being used. Fast foods in Paisley's diet are mostly kebabs and pizza. It just has to count among the worst places to live in the UK. Number 3, Inverness. If the places mentioned earlier dock this list, there is no reason why Inverness can be excluded from my listing of the worst places to live in Scotland. The
Yeah.
city whose name means mouth of the River Ness is in the Scottish Highlands. Inverness is the Highland Council administrative centre. Though regarded as the capital of the Highlands, it's also described as rough as boar and twice as disgusting. Yes, it's a bustling, sophisticated city up north in Scotland. However, you get the real reason not to live in Inverness once night falls, especially on weekends. Residents of some parts of this city know the uncultured folks around them that can be mugged, beaten, stabbed, or even murdered, and that can do the same to their folks. Inverness shares too much in the woes peculiar to cities, and this makes it one of the worst places to live in Scotland. Number 2, West Dunbartonshire. West Dunbartonshire is on many headlines, not for good reasons. As one of Scotland's 32 local government council areas, it lies in the west of Glasgow, in holding many of Glasgow's commuter towns and villages, and also bordering Argyll and Bute, Renfrewshire, Stirling, and of course, East Dunbartonshire. West Dunbartonshire has always found a place in negative rankings. We too can comfortably agree with its ranking here among the worst places to live in Scotland. For instance, it is among the most deprived areas in Scotland, according to official figures. It also has one of the highest percentages of deprived areas with fewer resources and opportunities, high rates of poverty and inequality, and the effects of the damaging legacy of the social and economic policies of yesteryears. Number 1. Cumbernauld. The number 1 on this list of worst places to live in Scotland is Cumbernauld, a large town in North Lanarkshire. It's the most populous town in North Lanarkshire and the 9th most populous locality in Scotland. Cumbernauld is on the Scottish watershed and between the Forth and the Clyde. Since 2003, Cumbernauld has continued to be voted as one of the worst in this and that. One of the participants in recent voting says that Cumbernauld is full of hard and rough men involved in the drugs deals, adding that it's a dangerous place to live.
Wow.
Another reviewer believes that Cumbernauld was built to accommodate the worst of the scum that the city of Glasgow did not want.
Yeah.
What do you think? Are there any other worst places to live in Scotland apart from the ones here? Please let me know in the comments section and kindly share your criteria. Thank you for watching this video.
Class, isn't it? We've watched them all now. Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, cheap properties. Yeah. That's the list. I watched worse ghettos in Europe, but that weren't that really good, really, to be honest. Street warden turns up and goes gangster on me by a Reggie photo. 5 hours ago, Reggie's new video. That's what's happened. Hashtag Tina promoting auditing. I'm watching it live with you guys. Alright, mate, Timmy B. See you later, brother. Have a good sleep now.
Yes.
Have a good one, mate. Thanks for joining me. Legend. Everybody go and check out Timmy B. Subscribe to his channel. Oh shit, here we go. Will they abide by Pinner?
So there we go, guys. I've never seen anything like it. Wardens, Red in Bid, PCSO, all in one place. Unbelievable. So guys, what you've just seen there is the context leading up to what you're just about to see. So after that, I went into Wenzel's Bakery to get a pizza slice. Now, I didn't put my nose into somewhere where it didn't belong. All I wanted to do was film, observe it. If I seen any tyranny, I've still got the choice to speak out or say nothing but still record, whatever I choose to be. It's a public space, right? But anyway, it turned out there was someone suspected of shoplifting, and so in that respect, they're just doing the job, and that's it. So I walked away, got the gist of the situation. But I noticed when I come out of the little bakery, they were all looking at me and saying something about me. And then this is where this little bit of confrontation, which I tried to turn into a bit of a banter, but it was obviously coming to me, and then the rest is history. You're right. Yeah, what? What? What's the problem? Well, it's like that. All aggressive. You put your chest out to me.
chess or something, isn't it?